because we're coordinating a few things. It's going to be fun. And so we're excited about it. But mark your calendar for kicking things off on February the 8th. I'm starting a new series for a new year this morning. Amen? Amen. Did you all have just a great new year? Was it a good new year? I sure hope you all had a good new year, because I'm going to tell you what, it was just kind of fun. Yes, the rest of our vacation was warm, thank God. A lot of it was on the beach, and it was nice. Even though the water, it took you a while to get used to it, because it was pretty cold. It's pretty cool, but we visited a church down there, and it was just fun, and we had a lot of fun. And so it was good to celebrate the new year with the family and with God. And what I want to do this new year, because I feel like I'm kicking it off now with the rest of my church family for the first time, I want us to think about something. In fact, I want us to do more than think about something. I want us to pray about something. Are you guys with me? Yeah. I want us to approach this year, starting it off in prayer. And I don't want to do it with our simple prayers. Because while I was on vacation, and the real safe ones, a lot of people like to go to Florida. Have you ever noticed that it gets crowded down there? And if you've ever gone to Florida, it's like everybody from Michigan and Ohio and Indiana is down there. Why? Because we're all trying to escape the cold, you know what I'm saying? And so we're driving around this parking lot, and my wife goes, "Oh, dear God, please help us find a parking place." That's a safe prayer. I'm not sure if God is, I'm sure He cares about the parking place, but you guys know what I'm saying. Bless His food, God. That's a real safe prayer. We do give thanks, and in Timothy it talks about giving thanks for our food. I'm totally in for that. I teach my kids we need to pray before we eat to give God thanks for it. It's important. But I'm not talking about the safe prayers. You know what I'm saying? Like, Lord, please bless me, please help my family, please heal me. The safe ones. Those are safe. Or protect me when I travel. That's like doubly safe, you know what I mean? Maybe you got it, maybe you didn't. I want us to pray different. In fact, I've entitled this series, Change Me. Every first part of the year, what do we begin to think about? New Year's resolutions. In fact, I was asked while I was traveling, "Hey, have you made a New Year's resolution?" I always make a New Year's resolution, and I didn't. I actually slipped my mind. I'm like, well, maybe lose some of the weight that I had already lost, maybe. And you think about this stuff. And then as I was studying and preparing for what was, and I was planning messages for the year, I really like to approach the year with a mindset and how we're going to approach the year, what I believe God's saying to us. And there was like several things that were running through my heart, my mind. And you want to know what really resounds to me? Change me. Do you really want to be changed? When you make the New Year's resolution, we go, I'm going to go to the gym more. It's kind of like a safe thing, and you could get hurt. I got hurt in the gym once, but I don't want to go there. But I want real change. Seriously, I want real change. And so, over the next 3 weeks, this is just a 3-weeker, since I got a late start. We're going to talk about today, I've entitled it Search Me. Next week's going to be Break Me. And the third week's going to be Send Me. And these aren't safe prayers. And I want us to be praying about these. I want these to be our prayer. In fact, they're quite dangerous, if you will. Because have you ever heard that phrase? Be careful what you pray for. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm asking you now to not be careful what you pray for. Because I don't really believe you have to be careful what you pray for. Because I believe God is a good God. And whatever we pray for, Him in His infinite wisdom, providence, and grace knows how to lead us through it. And I believe if we begin to pray to change, it might hurt a little. How many people Have you ever heard the phrase, no pain? Yeah, I say, I know you're following me this morning. It's like New Year's. So we're going to begin with a verse. And this is search me. And we're going to talk about a very familiar passage today. I'm sure we all know it. I'm going to read it to you. Psalms 139, 23, and 24. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Can we read this one aloud together? Let's all read this aloud. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. I want to break this passage into 4 different parts. This prayer, if you will, into 4 parts. As we take a look at what it means for God to search us. The very first thing that David writes here is he says, search me. So this first part is, search my heart, God. Search me and know my heart. You ever heard that phrase, oh, you just have a good heart? Really? I mean, I believe in Christ we do. Because of Jesus Christ, I have a good heart. I am His child. But how many people know that when I am not acting out of my salvation, that heart can wane? How many people know that as often as we like to say, oh, bless her pea-picking little heart. I mean, I love that phrase. I don't know why I love that phrase. But bless her pea-picking, they just have a good heart. Well, sometimes they don't. In fact, the Bible says this. It says this in Jeremiah 17:9, the human heart is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad it is? You know, Paul the Apostle writes, Romans chapter 7, I don't do what I want to do, I do what I don't want to do. And he goes back and forth because we struggle with this so often between the truth and the lie. In fact, sometimes I want to just say we're probably all just liars. How many liars do we have out there? Raise your hand. How many liars? Okay. Find somebody who hasn't raised their hand and look at them. And you can say, liar, liar, pants on fire. Because there's times we all lie. I don't think we even know how bad we are sometimes. I mean, here's a couple of them. I'm not full of pride. I don't eat that much. I'm not materialistic. I just like nice things. I don't have an anger problem. I don't gossip. I just like to pray for people. I'm not critical, you idiot. I don't have a problem with lust. I just appreciate natural beauty. Fill in the blank of whatever problem you try to justify, and then ask yourself if you've lied about it. You know, I grew up in the church. And it's interesting, you know, when somebody tells you something you don't want to hear. Have you ever had that? And you know it's like true. I had a youth pastor that was actually good at that for a while. And he would see things in me, and he'd say things that would hurt me, because he would say things like, you know, your whole world revolves around you, you know, things like that. And when I was a teenager, I didn't get it. You know what I'm saying? But I realized my whole world revolved around me. He'd say things like, you're like a big fish in a little sea. And he was right, because I come to realize I was only worried about me having fun, my desires, my friends, my social life, what was in it for me. I come to realize I was just basically fake. Now, I was a Christian. I love Jesus. I worship God. often do we fake it? David writes, search my heart, God. Search it. Are you willing to have God search your heart at its very depths, at its very core? I mean, how much do we really want to change? New Year's resolutions sound great when it's, I'm on a diet. As hard as that is, it's kind of like diet with a T. I mean, I do it good for a while. Getting ready to start another one. You know, this is a dangerous prayer, search my heart. This isn't a safe one. If you've got the courage, pray, God, search my heart. Number 2, reveal my fears. It says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. I'm not talking about like snakes and spiders and a man hiding behind the shower curtain with a knife. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking about that. Anybody afraid of the man in the... Okay. Seen too many of those horror flicks. Not me. I don't watch those. I've seen the ad, though. The ads are scary. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, do you fear failure? Do you fear losing your job? Do you fear not having enough? Do you fear not getting married? Do you fear that you are in a dead-end marriage? Do you fear what's going to happen with your kids? What do you fear? It says, see if there's any anxiety in my heart, or see if I have any anxious thoughts. Do you fear being intimate? Do you fear success? Some people fear success. Why does this matter, being afraid? What does it matter if I'm anxious or if I'm worried? Why is that so significant? Except for the fact this, the area of your greatest fear, I'd say, is probably the area where you don't trust God the most. The area you're most afraid is the area you don't trust God the most. I've had a fear. Have you ever had a fear? Am I the only one? I mean, okay if I bear my... I mean, this is New Year, you know what I'm saying? So here, let's start the New Year off right. Let's confess our sins. He's faithful just to forgive us our sins. You know what I'm saying? I've always had a fear of failure. Failure bugs me. I don't like to fail. I don't like to lose either. I mean, I didn't run the race to win, okay? I know I'm too slow for that. How did Nate put it at my roast the other night? I run like a drunken duck or something like that. You know, and he's right, I do. I do. They had a little roast for me. I'd never even heard of a roast, and they roasted me. It was hilarious. It was really funny. He said that I bomb him texting, and I do. It won't stop. It will not stop. I got fast thumbs. I can text almost as fast as I can talk.
Wow.
I know it's fast. I got friends that can't tell if I'm sitting at the keyboard in front of my computer or if I'm on my phone texting. The things we're proud about. Dear Lord, help me. I'm not going to fail at being the slowest texter. I'm just saying. But there's a lot of things that I do fear failure. And if I start to look under the covers of it, I kind of made some notes on it actually. Because when I start looking at my thing about failure, you know what it kind of gets to for me? I begin to realize that I'm really concerned about what people think about me. Are you with me? And if I get to the root of it, usually there's pride there. Usually I'm more afraid of what people think than what God thinks. And fear of failure can be a weakness. And in my position as a pastor, really, I should be filled with faith. Are you with me? And there's times I'm really filled with faith. And there's other times I have fears. And you know what it reveals to me? My desperate need for Jesus. I have a desperate need for Jesus and having a relationship with Him. And every time we ask God, God, will you search our hearts? Will you search your heart? Will you search my heart? Will you reveal in me my anxious thoughts? Will you show me where I'm not walking in faith? Because I need to really rely on you during this time because I'm afraid. You see, courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is being able to face that fear and trust in God and step out on faith. Our greatest fear is usually the place where we need to trust God the most. I dare you to say this prayer, actually. God, search my heart, see if there's any anxious thought. Because, you know, as He begins to search your heart, this is the beauty of it. So often we see our mistakes. At the beginning of the year we see, well, I'm going to try harder not to do X. I'm going to try to eat better. I'm going to try to exercise more. I'm going to try to spend more time with my kids. I'm going to try to have a date night with my spouse. Or whatever it's going to be for your New Year's resolution. You fill in the blank. And we try to fix something that way, but we never take the real time to say, God, will you really search me to find out why I have the tendencies I do? You know, when I'm afraid for my kids, so I say I'm going to spend more time with my kids, but maybe there's an underlying root in there that God says, if you'll take the time to allow me to search your heart as to why, I can help correct it for the rest of your life. Do you know what my prayer is for this message? Or this series even? This is my prayer. That we begin to pray these prayers, and it becomes a defining moment in our spiritual walk. That we begin to take a look at our hearts and our lives, and we begin to take care of things at such a deep level with Him that it changes us from this day on. I challenge you to pray this prayer for all of next week, every day, in your devotion. And if you haven't started a devotion yet, I dare you to start it with it. God, will you search me? Will you see if I'm afraid? Will you see if I'm anxious? Number 3, you're going to love this one. Uncover my sins. He says in verse 24, see if there is any offensive way in me. Uncover my sins. You see, this isn't one of those, God, I really want a close parking spot. It's not one of those prayers. God, will you uncover them? This takes courage. You know, it's a whole lot easier to see other people's sins than our own. Have you ever noticed that? When other people have an issue, can you believe what they're doing? Here's almost a fun one. When I drive, and they brought up driving on my roast. When I drive, you want to know what one of my pet peeves are when I'm driving? You're driving down the highway and there's like a construction zone ahead. First of all, I can't stand construction zones. How many people love those things? Aren't they the funnest? Especially when they slow you down. Oh my gosh. But then what it is you got these cones somewhere way up there that causes everybody to merge, and that's why there's a slowdown. And then you got these yahoos, usually the big trucks or the sports cars. And they like to zoom past everybody in that lane as far as they can, and then turn on their turn signal as though that's the polite thing to do, so they can cut in front of everybody. And you're sitting back there like, you can get in line with the rest of us. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Until you're kind of cruising along, not paying attention with your family like me. And I do cruise along. I didn't say that. So you're just kind of cruising along in that lane, and you find yourself caught in that lane, and you go, oh, I probably should get over. And you go, oh, but there's an opening up there. You know what I'm saying? It's so much easier to see it in other people, and we can do the same things we judge other people for and not even think about it. It's because we always judge other people by their actions and ourselves by our motives. God, search me. Search me to see if there's any wicked way in me. Uncover, see if there's any anxiety, any fear. Lord, see if there's any offensive way. Uncover my sins. Here's a few questions you could ask yourselves. What are others trying to tell me? Have you ever had an issue where more than one person kind of pointed it out? It's probably worth listening to. What have I rationalized for some time? In other words, you kind of, well, yeah, this is just my way of relaxing. This is just my way of dealing with this. It's not that big of a deal. Where are you most defensive? You ever find that you have to lie to hide something or protect yourself? Pride, lust, materialism, greed, lying. Search me, reveal my fears, uncover my sins. You see, we confess to God for forgiveness. We confess to each other for healing. Uncover my sins, Lord. In other words, let me get them out in the open. Let me share them with somebody that can help me walk through this. Uncover my sins. And number 4. Well, actually, James 5:16 says this before I say 4. Confess your trespasses to one another and pray for one another that you may be healed. The effective, fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much. This is that fervent prayer I'm talking about. This is that dangerous prayer, if you will, that I'm talking about. It's this fervent prayer, this cry for help that says, Lord, please change me. Change me. Confess your trespasses to one another and pray for one another. It's funny how the church has such a hard time practicing this one. Because we're so afraid that people are going to judge us or maybe even talk about us because of the issue that we have. And so then we hold it all together because somebody may see us as less spiritual. And we can't have that. When in reality, it's what brings us the deliverance and the freedom and the strength we desire. Number 4, lead me. It says, see if there's any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Lead me in the way everlasting. There's always grace. There's always grace. See, the problem is we'll have an issue, and then we lie to ourselves about it, and that lie gets very deep, and the years go on, and we don't even know why we live out a certain way. We say, well, I know I got a little bit of an anger problem, and you don't even know why you're angry. It's like you explode at a little tiny thing, or you don't know why you're prone to a certain addiction, and you just kind of have this lie way down there that you've completely forgotten about. And that's what David's saying here. Search me. Find out why I'm living the way I'm living. Find out why I'm prone to the behavior that I'm prone to. It's not just behavior modification now, God. I realize you're not as interested in that. You're interested in my heart. Search my heart, oh God. See if there's an offensive way. See why I'm afraid of the things I'm afraid of. And God, help me to trust you and to let go of control. Help me to show you my heart. All of our life flows from this heart. All of it. It says, Guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. And in the Hebrew, it is the very essence of your life is right here. See, I want to begin this year with change me. And I don't want to be afraid of what other people will think more than what God will think. It's like, God, if you need to make a big change in my life, then I need to be willing to take that step of faith and to trust you and to walk through it, to uncover my sins, to open my heart, to invite you in so that I can walk with you. Because you see, we all crave something on the inside. It's like every year we do. Every year we say, I need to make a resolution. I need to make a change. I need my life to be better tomorrow than what it was yesterday. And the only way for it to really change is to allow God to change it. Amen?
Amen.
Let's pray. And with that said, even if you have to look at the screen, make that your prayer this morning. Make that your prayer. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is an offensive way in me. You see, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's offensive to God, we want it gone. Doesn't matter how little, doesn't matter how big. Like, God, see if there's an offensive way. And lead me, God, into the way everlasting. God, we make this our prayer this morning. We pray, Lord, that you would search us, that you would show us, change us. In Jesus' name. With every head bowed and every eye closed and no one looking around. If you're sitting here this morning and you're saying, Pastor Dan, I don't know for certain. If I were to die tonight, I would spend eternity in heaven. I don't know that I would spend it with Jesus. I don't know. If that's you, I'm not going to embarrass you. I'm not going to call you up or anything. But I do want to pray for you. Is there anybody here that says, I need to know Jesus? I need to accept him as my Savior. Is there anyone at all? I just want you to slip up your hand. Anyone at all? Father, I thank you for your children. Search us, God. Dismissed.